will be talking about the problems that some people might face in their lifetime. The problem might change in frequency and intensity, and in the age they strike the person. The problems could be financial problems, health problems, or security problems. But the issue is not the kind of problems you get, but it's how you react to those problems, how you respond to those problems, and how you cope with those problems. I believe my story is unique. It's not unique in the story that I came from a war-ravaged country, but it's unique because of the stories that followed long after the Civil War. It's basically about the history of our country. Our country is a history of two colonies, British and Italian on one side. I come from the British side. In 1960, our country got the independence. The union, and there was a union between the two, South and North, were the Italian and British colony. Where I come from, the North, they felt marginalized, and in 1997, there was a military takeover of power. The president was assassinated. He was visiting a famine-stricken region, and a Russia-trained military general took over power. And because of that long period of marginalization, my people staged today an armed resistance against the dictator, which reached notoriety in the late 80s. In the late 80s, the military regime unleashed air power, ground forces on my people. My town was destroyed to utter ruins. The picture you see in the middle is a woman sitting in what used to be the town hall of my town. The fighter jet on the left is one of the fighter jets that was actively in operation bombarding my city. Today it stands at the seat of the center as a monument. What is striking is it's not about that it bombarded my town, but what is striking is that it flew and loaded from the airport of the same town and bombed the same town. This is the first primary school I've ever attended, of what used to be the cultural exhibition center. But today, much of Hargeisa, the town I come from, has rebuilt. And it is not rebuilt because of a foreign investment and foreign aid, but because of the hard work of its people and the entrepreneurial nature of the Somali people. I joined medical. My years of study from primary school to high school to medical college were totally different from one another. In middle school, my performance was mediocre. In high school is when I started to stand out. And it started on one afternoon. It was an English class, and in fact, because we studied in Somali and Arabic, we did not know good English. So the teacher posed a question onto the students. He said a sentence in Somali, and whoever answered that question, and whoever translated into English, whoever said it in English, will win a cold soda in a hot afternoon. We did not have many young boys, broke young boys, so everybody tried. I tried my best. I got it. That was the first thing I've ever won. And a few years down the line, I was a top 10 student nationwide in the high school leaving examination. And I won a scholarship in Kenya. 15 young people, very, very proud of their achievement, with high hopes of life. In Kenya, of course, Kenya was much more advanced than our country. The medical school was much more established. And from that time on, just the same in high school, I was also best in medical school. I finished medical college and went back home, and only 4 months into medical practice, I was involved in a automobile accident. I sustained a spinal cord injury, which turned incurable and unpredictable of its outcome. And there were many choices ahead of me. Do I give up? Because this life in a wheelchair is a life I didn't expect, a life I didn't get, that I didn't know nothing about. Or do I move on? But The determination was fueled by, I know it's a personal stuff, but I need to raise it by a woman I loved. A woman I met during my college years, and she was, when I came out of the hospital, she came, I was in the living room. That was the first time she saw me on a wheelchair, because I had my medical treatment back in Kenya. So I went back home on a wheelchair, so she came into my living room. She asked me, Hamse, I knew you will always believe you are the best, and you were very competitive, but I think you need twice harder than anybody else. And from that time on, whatever challenge I met, I believe that I should be working twice harder than anybody else. So I went back to the hospital I worked at, and I was not ready to go back to medical practice because I lost faith in medicine. I liked medicine very much, I still do. I believe medicine was the solution to all problems of mankind. So because the medicine could not raise me from the wheelchair, I lost faith in medicine. So I was doing some health management kind of work, but I knew I should do something different. So I found an organization, and within the first month, I contacted the government of Kuwait, a tiny super-rich Gulf state, and they donated 400 wheelchairs and crutches to help people who could not otherwise move about, who could not afford to buy a wheelchair. So when the free wheelchair distribution and crutch was over, I felt proud of myself that I came in contact with people that I wouldn't have otherwise known about. And a few years down the line, I also became interested in starting business startups, and later I became a writer writing fiction stories, but mostly talking about living in a post-conflict country and the challenges that someone can meet in life. It's always a kind of melancholy story, but most of them with a happy ending, because I like happy ending. The Mandela Washington Fellow was the best thing that happened to me, because it reminded me the day I won the cold Fanta soda in a hot afternoon. And because it really showed me that I'm bouncing back from adversity and personal tragedy. And when I watched the Statue of Liberty, I felt that I reached the promised land. I am a blue hen. Thank you very much.